This insane exploit is one of the best and currently working exploits in the Sea of Thieves. Before I get started, I'm trying to reach 10,000 subscribers, and if you could help me get there, that would mean a lot to me. This exploit uses the same mechanic that I've used for other exploits, however, this one has a few different rules. Recently, I have received word that the Vestige of Power exploit has been either partially or fully patched. The island that I originally showed it on, as well as other islands suggested by you guys, also either didn't work sometimes or don't work at all, so I found a replacement for it. First, you have to go to the Devil's Roar. You can either sail there or you can use the Shores of Gold Talltale. If you want to use the Shores of Gold Talltale because you're far away, go ahead and just dive to the Shores of Gold Talltale, and once you come up at Marrow's Peak, you will be able to just cancel the voyage and move on. Either way, once you get into the Devil's Roar, the island you are going to head for is called Flames End. Flames End is just south of Marrow's Peak, and it's a very small island, and it's smaller than the ones that we've used for the previous versions of this exploit, so it makes it actually a little bit easier to do it, and it makes it a little bit quicker. Once you are at Flames End, try to park on the north side of the island with your ships, cannons, and harpoons facing the island. This is going to keep you away from the volcanoes and out closer to your sell point. It also just worked better for me when parking on this side of the island, but you may have to mess with your ship positioning a little bit to get it as efficient as possible. So if you aren't getting the result you're expecting out of this quest, go ahead and move your ship around the island, and that should help you find a good spot to do it from. Once you are at Flames End and parked on the north side of the island, all you have to do is simply vote for an Ashen Captain's Vault Voyage. In the last exploit, you guys had a general consensus that the Captain's voyages worked better than the Sailor's voyages. So if you are high enough level, I definitely recommend using those voyages. And if you're not, there's no guarantee that this exploit is going to work. So try not to use the Sailor's one, try and use the Captain's one. You can either level up till you're there or have a friend that's high enough level put them down for you. Once you vote for an Ashen Captain's Vault Voyage, the first map piece will be on the island, Flames End, about 70 to 90% of the time. If the map piece is on Flames End, then go ahead and go dig it up. Once you dig it up, 3 skeletons should spawn. And once you kill them, they each have a chance to drop one of these trinkets. And I know trinkets doesn't sound crazy or like it's even usable for an exploit because they don't sell for very much, but these were worth way more than I and others originally thought they would be, and it does make it a viable exploit. These skeletons during the Ashen missions also seem to have a much higher drop chance for these trinkets than we previously did in the other versions of this exploit, and I was averaging about 2 of these trinkets per map piece. And it wasn't uncommon for me to get 3, as it happened a few times during my play session. Just remember that it is luck, and you may get 1 or 0, which I also had many a times during my play session, but these do seem to drop them a little bit more often. Using this method in my own play session, I was able to hit Emissary Grade 5 in just 15 minutes. And in that amount of time, I had collected 19 trinkets. And each trinket sold for about 4 to 5k, which, like I said, was much more than I expected for some small trinkets. This was, of course, at Emissary Grade 5, which it took me 19 trinkets to get to, and it should take you about the same amount. But this means that you could ideally, because it took me 15 minutes to get 19, you could get about 76 trinkets per hour. That's assuming that you have a similar run to mine, you have a little bit of practice doing it, and if all goes well, you are Emissary Grade 5, you do all that for an hour, you should make about 324k gold and about 8 levels. But this is, like I said, if you're having an average run like mine. However, I'm guessing that the perfect crew or perfect run that's not wasting any time, no time experimenting or making any mistakes, that you could probably get close to 90 trinkets per hour, which means about 400k gold and about 10 levels for gold hoarders, which is pretty insane considering the state of exploits right now. Also, just remember that how many levels you get is completely up to what level your account is, what emissary you're selling at, and just remember that it ranges pretty drastically from a person and depending on that person's level. So what's even different about this exploit? Well, for one, there are almost no exploits out at the moment, and unlike before, there's almost no exploratory ways to make gold in the reputation currently. So as community weekend approaches, I wanted to highlight this one as well as maybe a few close future ones if they do work like I think they do. And even if they're smaller or similar to other exploits I've put out, it's just a way that everyone has so they can make a little bit more gold and a little bit more reputation for a community weekend. Also, last time we had things like the fleet exploit and other small exploits, those don't exist anymore. So this is all we got for right now, as far as I know. This exploit also takes place in the Devil's Roar, which has a lot less traffic, which means you are less likely to run into people that are going to PvP, mess with you, or even just slow you down because they're just encroaching on your space. So the only thing that you really have to do is watch out for volcanoes, but it also means that because of Flames End's positioning, First of all, you can sell very quickly because it's very close to an outpost, but at that outpost is the Shores of Gold tall tale, which you could have used to get there, but you should have it or a tall tale checkpoint ready, just in case you need to run away from enemy ships, or in case a ship you're chasing while it's doing this exploit is trying to run to the Shores of Gold, you should have that checkpoint. You could also use it in case you steal someone's progress and you want to sneak away with their loot. So just remember that because you're at Flames End, that things like Shores of Gold and other things that happen in the Ashen area are on the table of possibilities. I also just want to take a moment to point out that obviously my videos have been coming out a little bit slower, and we are entering a little bit of a different time for Sea of Thieves. There will always be problems and things that I will find to exploit, as well as other people will find to exploit with games like this one, especially big ones, and especially when they release new content. However, Sea of Thieves has made a really big effort towards fixing exploits, and while it's really cool that the game's becoming pretty fair, obviously other than the cheating side, which was the goal of my channel, to show everyone exploits so that way it was still somewhat fair, the actual exploits are becoming less common and less profitable, which does really suck. It's just not as fun not having these really crazy things to go for. That being said, I'm not going to stop making them. I absolutely am still trying every single day to find them. There's just in the middle of seasons like this one where there isn't a ton of new content, there might be dry spells for exploits. I have a few right now that I'm researching how useful they actually are and the probability of them working and how quickly they're going to get patched. But just like I said, middle of seasons like this one where there's not a ton of new content and when there's not a ton of new content out, there may be dry spells, there may not be as many exploits, but I will still update you as soon as I know that they're there. I will also be doing my best to keep you guys updated on just the best ways to make golden reputation in areas where there aren't exploits currently out, like I did about 2 weeks ago. Just show you guys what the best thing to do is, especially around community weekends and other events, just so you guys can be on top of the leaderboard when it comes to doing this stuff. I'm sure it's not always going to be like it is now, but right now there's just not a ton of exploits in this period of the game's life, and I'm sure we'll hit another one where they put out a ton of content and we can all exploit it and get a ton of golden reputation off of it. So just wanted to throw that out there that, you know, if you guys see, I'm not giving up on exploits or anything like that. It just is going to happen every once in a while that the game enters a period where it's kind of hard to find exploits for anything because they're just getting a little bit better at patching them, and there's not really anything new that they could have messed up on. Once they fix something, it's going to be pretty hard to exploit it again. So if you guys know of any exploits that I don't know of, or that you haven't seen anybody post, or maybe you have seen them post and you want me to make a video on them, go ahead and let me know, because like I said, right now I know of some that I'm working on, but I'm sure that there's some that I don't know about, so just let me know so we can share it with the community. Thank you guys so much for the growth that you guys have given this channel, as well as all of the support that you guys have given it. Like I said at the beginning, I'm currently trying to make it to 10,000 subscribers, and if you could help me get there, that would mean a lot. And also, I'm currently working on a ton more exploit videos, and hopefully those will be viable and I can show you them in the near future, so stick around for those. Like I said, if you guys have any exploits or anything that you think that I can use, please make sure to let me know in the comments below, as it would help me and the community so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.